Thank you for joining in today. I've looked so much forward to having Leia and Manuel coming to our center and specifically zooming in on one aspect of Tibetan Buddhism, which we all know, mindfulness, and hopefully and most likely taking a different approach and still something similar, revolving around terms like clarity, intention, attention, alertness, and mindfulness, which my teacher, Venerable Rubina Curtin, explains, remembering from moment to moment what you're doing. And that's something I really need, at least something not to get so distracted during the day. And also taking questions, explaining the practice. And I even heard that we might get up discussing a little bit. So that's nice. And Leia and Manuel are all friends of Laksam and also of our sister center in Bern called Longku. And they agreed to come here and teach today. And I can just explain that they are actually students of Jack Kornfield and Tara Brach. And besides that, I think they should at least explain a little bit about what they're doing, which I'm sure they will. So thank you and welcome. I'll pass on the word to them.
Thank you, Lars. Thank you. Also from our side, a huge thank you to Laksam for having us here. It's really wonderful to be back, I'd say. We've known Laksam since its beginnings, and we were at some of the first teachings in the Quartier house in Kreisig under the roof. And we know Nina and Jeff from that time. And it's so wonderful to see how the center has flourished and how it's now a real center and with a really big program and wonderful teachers. So great to see. And also the community that really seems to flourish. Also a big thank you to Lars for being here today as our Zoom master, and also for preparing together with Maria, and also from our time in working at the FMT Center in Bern. We know how much work goes into just having a center running and preparing these events. So thank you for that.
Yes, and a deep welcome also from my side. And it's so beautiful to see so many people. We are a bit nervous. I mean, I feel I'm a bit nervous. I don't know. Yeah, wonderful, and really wanted to welcome every aspect of you, like what you're bringing, the mood that you're bringing today in a Sunday morning, your thoughts and your body and your history, and yeah, just a very deep welcome to all parts of yourself.
So just a few words about us. I'm a classically trained musician, I'm a violist and a computer scientist, and I first started meditating in 2008, and I'm now in my second year of the training to become a mindfulness meditation teacher, and I live in Zurich with Manu and 2 cats.
Yes. Yes, so we are a couple, and so I also live in Zurich with Leah and my 2 cats, our 2 cats. I'm also a classical musician, trained a violinist and conductor, and yeah, also meditating. Actually, it's almost the same. Meditating since 2008, also together. Kind of a little bit. We are both a little bit meditation nerds, I think we can say. And yes, also in the training, the teacher training. So it's a great opportunity for us also to teach.
Yeah, and wonderful that so many of you are here today, completely surprised. Also you on Zoom. I'm looking at the wrong place every time, but I want to see your faces. So we call this an experiential intro class today, and while Manu is going to talk a little bit about mindfulness is and share some words with you, We'll mostly do some different practices. There will be time for sharing and questions, of course, and we'll do a little stretching break in the middle. And the goal is that we hope that by the end of today, you will have a taste of what mindfulness is and also of the practices. And we'll jump right in with a little grounding meditation. And you can stay as you are, really. It's something that is just nice to do, to arrive in our bodies. It's also something that doesn't need to happen in a meditation center, but also you can do this in the bus or when waiting for a meeting and you have 2 or 3 minutes. It's really short and just brings you into the body. So finding a posture that's upright and relaxed. You can just sit as you are. That's perfectly fine. And if you want to, you can close your eyes or keep them slightly open. And just taking a few deeper breaths. And then feeling where your body touches the ground. Maybe it's the feet or the lower legs. Maybe you can feel the softness of the ground, or maybe it's hard. And then continuing where you can feel the cushion. Maybe also there, maybe you can feel more pressure on one side than the other, or maybe not, maybe it's the same. And then feeling into your hands. Maybe they're touching something. Maybe fabric or skin. Maybe you're feeling temperature. And then feeling into your back. If there's tension in the shoulders that you can easily release. And then widening the awareness to sense your whole body sitting there. Maybe there's some movement coming from the breath. And you can really feel supported by the ground and the earth beneath. Really drop the weight that you want to. And when you're ready, you can take a few deeper breaths again. Stretch a little and open your eyes and come back.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to make sure that you guys on Zoom can hear me. Lars, can you give me a thumbs up? Yes, thank you. So I want to explain a little bit what is this thing mindfulness, and I have to say it's quite difficult to explain what it is actually. It has to be experienced, that's for sure. But there are a few things that one can say, and I hope I can be clear enough so that you get kind of a taste of what it is. But first, maybe talking a little bit about the origins of mindfulness. So mindfulness is a quality that we all actually know how to do, but the first one who was really seeing this as a technique that's really kind of, I mean, it integrated in the teachings was the Buddha, actually. And this is, we're talking about 2,600 years ago. It's a very old technique. I mean, he didn't invent mindfulness. I mean, it was, as I said, it was there much before him, and also used in all the techniques that were used in every part of the world. So he didn't invent it. Yet you can find mindfulness in all the teachings as a kind of ingredient that helps the teaching, that help the teaching to kind of flourish, you could say. And then maybe I'm just going to jump, and we are now, let's say, 40, 50 years, because I want to explain, we are teaching secular mindfulness. So I want to explain how did it come to the West, because secular mindfulness is yeah, just feeling some confusion right now a little bit. I'm sorry. Yeah. So like, you could say, yeah, there are like three main traditions that are very well known in the West. You have Tibetan Buddhism. This is one big tradition. Zen Buddhism, and then there is the Vipassana tradition, which is from the southeastern part of Asia. And in the last 40 years or 50 years, or let's say in the 60s and 70s, some Westerners went to Thailand, and some of them went to Burma to study with those masters of Vipassana, yeah? Tibetan Buddhism, Zen, and Vipassana. So they went there to learn with those teachers. And some of them ordained as monks, and some of them practiced as lay practitioners. And after many years learning with those masters, they came back and started to teach themselves long retreats in the West, in the US, actually. So bringing those ancient teachings into the West. And at some point, there was one guy, John Kabat-Zinn, it's his name. He was there on one of those 3-month retreats. And he had kind of a small enlightenment, mini enlightenment. And he thought, wow, those techniques are so amazing, actually. How do we bring them without the Buddhist context? Because he wanted to make them more available for many more people. And not just people interested in Buddhism, but people also interested in, because he saw that it's doing so much with his life. So he got really fascinated by that, actually. He was actually a molecular biologist, I think, but he got in touch with an hospital in Massachusetts, and wanting to kind of present those techniques to the patients there, because he thought it can be really helpful for a lot of people. And so the hospital was kind of, they felt it could be interesting, but they were not very sure about what to do with this guy. So they said, okay, you can go in the, in the basement, we give you the cafeteria, and we can see what happens there. And he said, John Kabat-Zinn, okay, send me all the patients that you really don't know anymore what to do with them. like people who were really who had very serious illnesses, people who had a lot of pain, were in a lot of pain, or people who just didn't, they couldn't deal so well with what was happening to them. And he started to work with them, and of course, like the physical conditions, I mean, some of them, of course, improved, but it was much more about like what to do with what is happening to you at this moment. And a lot of patients got really much better in the way that they were approaching their sickness and their illnesses and all this. So scientists got involved because they were like, okay, what is this guy doing basically? And yeah, they started to study that a lot. And MBSR was born. That's mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is a technique that was kind of invented by John Kabat-Zinn to help people deal with their stressful lives, actually. And since then, there has been a lot of studies, scientific studies about the effects of mindfulness, of all those techniques on the brain, on the body, and a lot of people are using that now, and it's kind of spread really quite widely into the world. And so that's kind of the origins. Apologies because it was not very clear. But yet I wanted to honor also the Buddhist roots also of mindfulness. That's so important. And there are so many things that you find in both worlds, in the Buddhist world and in the secular mindfulness world. So what is mindfulness basically? As I said, difficult to explain, but you could say it's paying attention to what is happening moment by moment. Okay, that's very simple, straightforward. And the magic thing is with a special attitude. So the special attitude would be, for example, with curiosity, or you could say, some people say non-judgmentally. Doesn't mean that you have to love everything that happens, but like non-judgmental, more in a way, like a kind of a scientific way, you know. Or you could say with warmth or with kindness. Yeah. So paying attention to what is happening in the present moment, moment by moment, in a special way. Yeah, with curiosity, with kindness. And you're not paying attention to your story or to the concept that is happening moment by moment, but rather to the direct experience. So for example, if I take this cup, I'm not paying attention to the stories that I have about this cup. I like this cup, it's still a cup. Now it's also still a cup. Yesterday it was still a cup. Yeah, and so it's not about that. It's much more what is happening right now. So for example, I feel now the warmth. I can see the form, the shape. I can feel a little bit of pulsing in my hand. I feel that my heart is still beating a little bit because of nervosity. And I feel also the mouth is starting to kind of really wanting to drink this liquid. Yeah. So this is what I mean with paying attention moment by moment, not to the concept, but to really, I mean, what is, yeah, you could say kind of reality. Yeah. So the opposite would be kind of being lost in thoughts. For example, you take the bus in the morning, you go to your workplace from home, you get in the bus, get to the workplace. Okay, what happened in between, you know? Lost in thoughts, thinking about everything else, but not really with the bus drive. Yeah? Like, so in the bus, you could start paying attention to the different noises happening, or basically whatever happens to your senses, and also, but also including your emotions, the emotions and the thoughts that you're having. Yeah, so it's really a mind and heart training, because so mind training in the sense that you always bring back your attention, you learn to bring back your attention to the present moment. This is like kind of really mind training, and at the same time also a heart training, because this learning of being curious or being kind with whatever happens this is not something that can be forced, but it's something that's developed. It's kind of muscles that grow, basically. Yeah, what can I say? Yeah, you can train in different, there are different settings to train. Like formal training would be something like you take some time in your day to really train mindfulness. Yeah, traditionally, it's like we have 4 postures. One of them is sitting, for example, where you would just dedicate some time of your day to being mindful. Or you could do this standing up or lying down. Yeah, you understand? I'm sorry, my English. Or walking, also a formal practice. And we will do a few of them today. And informally, you can also practice informally. That means, for example, you take this bus ride and you are paying attention to whatever happens during this bus drive. Okay. Yes, of course.
Things like changing or things like that going.
Mm-hmm.
That was a form of
yes. Yes. Okay, let me think about that. So if you, yes, if you can do any activity actually, and the difference would be usually if you draw. I don't know how you drawing experience is, but my drawing experience is I would have an idea and then I would start drawing and then my mind would maybe wander and I don't know how much consciousness I would have about the process. So in mindfulness, you would start to draw and then pay attention maybe to the feeling of your fingers, also the really trying to experience the colors, something like that, I think. So you can take any activity actually that you want. And yeah, I hope at the end of the day, maybe you will get a little bit of clearer sense of what I'm talking about. Yes, but you can do any activity actually with mindfulness. Yes, so I wanted to ask you now, what do you think are why do we do that actually? What does it bring to you to pay attention like to what's really happening right now? What does it do with your life, basically? What does it do with yourself? What do you think? Why do we do this actually? Appreciate the moment, yes.
Stay focused.
Stay focused. Very good answers. Yes.
To have a bit of distance to experience our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Have this place where you calm.
Exactly.
Present.
Yes. Not being completely identified with your emotions and exactly. You're not your thoughts. Yes. Yeah, because rumination happens when you get lost in thought, right? So bringing your mind back to the present moment really helps you with rumination. Yeah, so less worrying, less rumination. There is also the aspect of joy that you are saying, also like really appreciating the moments. Like this is your moment when you eat a fruit or whatever it is. Yeah.
Now live life in a more comprehensive way.
Yes.
More in contact with yourself.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Taking control a little bit back, you could say, over. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And like living, maybe just to add one more thing is once you start living less into the concepts, you get to actually, and being less lost in thought, you start to meet life, how it shows up moment by moment, without too many stories about it. So for example, you go to a party and you say something stupid. I don't know if it happens to you. To me, it happens sometimes. And then you go out of the party and like, oh my God, everybody hates me and I have no friends from now on. And I said exactly the same thing like 2 years ago. I'm so, I'm the worst, you know? So it goes on and on and on. Just as an example, it can be with anything. And with mindfulness, you would be like, okay, this was really stupid. Then you would kind of feel it. You would feel the shame also about that. Very uncomfortable. And like, okay, making the decision, okay, I'm not doing that again. But really, you would feel it much more. Really, it would be something that you experience and not really starting to go into la 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 la. Yeah, not really like this. So that would be a difference. And also the mind starts revealing itself because, yeah, I mean, you will see today, but when we start to do the meditation, it's not really so much about the exercise. It's with mindfulness, you get to really understand how your mind works, basically. All the things that happen during the meditation are very important. It's like you can really be like a scientist and collecting data. And so if you start seeing, for example, that you have a kind of a critic, you know, inner critic inside of you, with mindfulness, you would start to recognize the critic and start to develop a relationship with him or her, or yeah. And so it's really about learning how your mind works, basically. And once you do that, you start to also understand how other people's minds work. You don't know that, but you have the sensibility for other people that grows also. So you start to become also a more conscious person about all the people that you meet, and yeah, it makes you also more engaged, I think, in society and just as a person. Yes, we can discuss it later also if you have questions. And yeah, that was the longest we are going to talk because it's going to be experiential today. So thank you for listening. Yeah. Okay, and now we start immediately to show you what I'm talking a lot, but this maybe will help you understand more what I'm talking about. So yeah, what's really interesting, a good quality of the mind in mindfulness is really this beginner's mind, you would call it. It's like like a child who discovers the world, like seeing things for the first time. That's a very interesting quality of the mind that gets cultivated in mindfulness. And to show you, I will ask you to stay with me with a small experiment, and let's just do so as we would have never seen this object, what Leah is going to give you now. You have never seen that in your life, okay? And for the people on Zoom, I would ask you to find something that you kind of like to eat, not too big, and maybe nothing that can melt. That would be good. Yeah? You have like 1 or 2 minutes to get something in your kitchen if you want. Yeah. So mindful, I don't know, people on Zoom, do you have your, yes, that looks amazing. I really don't know what it is actually. No, yeah. Okay, so mindfulness is really nothing special, actually, because we do that. We can do that. You will see it's not complicated. It's just like Lars was talking in his introduction about remembering. And it is really to remember to do it, actually. So, okay, beginner's minds. Let's say we have never seen this object for the first time. So what do you see? Can you please describe it? Round, wrinkly thing, yes. Anyone else? Yes, a bit transparent, yes. Yes. All very good observations. Yes. Wrinkles, yes, wrinkly. Okay, let's touch it now, maybe with the fingers, and tell me what you can feel. It's soft, yes. Soft, sticky, sorry? Gooey, yes. Probably gooey, yes. A bit oily, yes. Okay, how does it smell? Yes, can you smell something? It's mild, yes, mild. Yes. Mm-hmm. Kind of sweet, sorry? Yes, sweet. It's like wine tasting a little bit, no? You're like, if people would hear us without the, without the image. Okay. Can you, does it make any noise actually? Yeah, you have to roll it in your finger. Yeah. Squish, yeah? Yes. Can you hear? It doesn't talk, mine doesn't talk. Okay, now maybe invite you to put it on your lips and just feel it with your lips. Is it the same as feeling it with your fingers? Or rough? Okay. Big, it feels bigger, yeah? Okay, now let's try it on our tongue. Then you won't be able to talk, okay? I'm gonna take it over from here. I'm not doing it because I have to talk. So you can put it on your tongue, but don't eat it. Don't bite it yet, okay? So maybe it's also different than on the fingers, right? On the tongue. And with the lips, it felt differently than on the tongue now. And now don't eat it, but just imagine that you eat it. What happens? Just be with your body and try to feel what happens if you feel the urge. And now I'm going to ask to bite once into it, and then tell me what happens. What happens when you bite once on it? Just once. Sound, okay. Do you taste something? Bit sweet, not too strong. Juicy. Okay, now you can keep on biting. And just stay with your body while it's happening. Maybe feeling into the jaws and how actually the mouth is amazing. It's doing its job without, you don't have to do anything. It just knows what to do, right? And the tongue knows where to go. The teeth know where to go. And when you feel ready, you can swallow it, of course. Try to stay with your experience. Yeah, try to stay with your body. Is the experience still going on? What's happening? Okay. Yes. Yes. Everything allowed in mindfulness. Okay. Where do you feel it? The tongue. Okay. Almost gone. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So how is it different to eat this rising with mindfulness now? Now you see, we had like we were coming back to the present moment, coming back again, coming back again, coming back again. And then I invited with my questions some curiosity, and there was a kind of a non-judgmental quality, because I wouldn't say, for example, oh, that's disgusting, or or I don't want to hear that, or I hate when it's sticky in the tongue, in the teeth, that would be kind of judgmental. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. Yeah, very often we are judgmental. It happens without you doing anything. It's just there. But then you would kind of, with mindfulness, you would even include these judgments, like a scientist. Okay, there is judgments happening here. You see what I mean? So yeah, how is it different for you now to eat this raisin? If you compare with eating a raisin without mindfulness, maybe? Was it different? Sweeter? Yes. Much sweeter. Yes. A stronger experience and bigger kind of experience. Yes. Yes.
Like now I'm not ready to something else. I'm still like experiencing.
Yes.
Yes.
So you kind of get stretched
Yeah.
the time a little bit. Yeah.
For me, that's also something pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I just, without mindfulness, it's just easy. I can just do it. And,
Yes.
yeah, it doesn't take me a lot of effort.
Yes.
But to do it in this way, I always have to deal with my
Mm-hmm.
that part of me that
Mhm.
just wants to be lazy and yeah.
Okay, anyone else has this part, lazy part? Yeah. Yeah, you're good. It takes an effort, right?
Mind on this detail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. But those are, for example, very mindful comments, no? So you notice while doing this, you notice I'm kind of lazy. I mean, it needs an effort, right? And it feels a little bit difficult. So there is mindfulness there because you notice this. So the exercise is just a kind of it's not so important to be able to eat a raisin mindfully, but to have this kind of insight. Wow, actually, it's kind of painful to make an effort, That's what it's actually about, right? So it's a very good, actually, insight. Yeah. Anstrengend. Yes, yes.
It's also like the awareness that is
Yes.
without the mindfulness piece. So
Yes. Yes. So there is this feeling of training, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe the last question before we go to the next exercise. So where was your worrying mind while we were doing the exercise? Or, you know, like regret, or, you know, was it? I mean, I don't expect that it was exactly like that, but just check with yourself all the things that you have to do today, maybe, or this next week or something, or, you know, where was it during the exercise? Was it there, or were you in the thing? It was gone. Okay. It must not be gone, but it was gone for you. Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You were in the. Yes. Exactly.
Maybe another time.
Exactly. It's always changing. It's moment by moment, right? But for you, for example, it was really helpful, I imagine, to be with something in the present moment. It's a good quality of mindfulness, that it brings you back out of the story and back into kind of reality, you could say. I don't want to go there with Tibetan, with what is reality about. Yeah? just wanting to. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for your practice. And now.
So we're going to do another practice. It's about the body, and the body is such an important object of practice in mindfulness. And Manu mentioned others that we touch on, like thoughts and emotions and other processes in the mind. But the body is a great place to start and always come back to, because it's always with us. It's always in the present moment. The sensations that we feel, they're happening now, not before, not later. And often during the day, we find ourselves up in our heads and not really noticing that we do have a body. And we're missing out on a lot. We're missing out on sensations, and also on emotions. We can feel emotions very strongly in our body, or urges or resistances. And if we shut the body off from our minds, then we miss out on all this information. So this practice is again bringing us into our bodies, and it's also called a journey through the body, a body scan, where we bring our attention to all different parts of the body, and I will guide you through it. So usually we would be doing this lying down, but since there's so many of us, we'll be doing it sitting. So making it comfortable for you. And if you don't feel comfortable on the cushion, really feel free to use these very nice chairs and benches that are there. It's really important to be comfortable. I mean, important. It's nice to be comfortable for that. Yeah. And you on Zoom, if you like, you can lie down. Of course, just make sure you can still hear me from where you are then. So what we do in this practice is that we pay attention to the sensations in the different places where we go, or the absence of sensations. And it doesn't matter so much if there are sensations or none. It's more about them really being curious and paying attention to what you can feel or not. And it's not thinking about the particular places. For instance, I'm not thinking about my knee, but I'm feeling into the knee and discovering it as if I, maybe with the beginner's mind again, didn't know yet what the knee is supposed to feel like or supposed to look like. And we feel sensations like temperature, position in space, or pressure, tingling, tension, whatever comes up for you. And numbness is also part of that. There are many places in the body where you might not feel anything actually, and that's totally fine. And for once, we're not asking anything from the body in this practice. It can just be however it wants. Maybe you'll feel something, maybe you will not feel something, maybe it will be comfortable, maybe it will not be so comfortable. It's all okay. So really inviting you to get comfortable and closing your eyes if that feels good, or otherwise you can look a little downwards and close your eyes halfway. And first bringing awareness to just your whole body sitting there. And then feeling the points of contact with the ground, or with the back of the chair or a cushion. On your feet. Lower legs. Under the buttocks. Maybe on the back. Or even the head, depending on how you're sitting. And you can really surrender your weight to the ground. And we'll start with the right foot. Feeling into the right foot. Any sensations coming up right away, maybe? Can you feel your toes? Maybe you can feel some and others not. Maybe there's temperature. And then going up to the right ankle. Any sensation there, maybe? Maybe not. And then to the lower legs. Maybe you feel some pressure. Maybe the fabric. And then going up to the knee, to the right knee. And this practice is also about allowing what is there and also letting go. So sometimes we meet a place that is maybe not so comfortable, and we still try to be curious and stay there for a while. And when it's really nice, we sometimes would like to linger longer. But there also, when the time comes, then we let go and we continue on. If something becomes too uncomfortable or painful, then after being curious about it for a while, I invite you to take care of yourself and bring your attention to the hands or the feet, and then which are usually pleasant or neutral places. And then you can come back to the exercise after that. So now we're at the knee. Maybe there's some tension there. And going up to the thigh, the right thigh. And really also feeling it from the inside out. What does your thigh feel like right now? And then to the left foot. What can you feel there? Really feeling into the foot. Maybe tingling. And then up to the ankle and the lower leg. And each time you find that your mind has wandered, then this is a moment of mindfulness, actually. So it's great that you noticed it, and you can gently bring the mind back to the practice. And up to the knee. What does your knee feel like? Like really feel like? Not picturing it or thinking about it. The actual sensations that are there or not. If there are no sensations, it's like you're in a room with no sounds. You can still have your ears open, but there is just no sound at the moment. Going up to the left thigh. What can you feel there? You can coming up to the hips. the lower belly. Also here, forgetting all ideas, really trying to feel into the sensations that are there. Maybe you also feel some movement there. And then going up to the stomach area, and the chest. Maybe there's movement there too. And each time your mind wanders, you can bring it back gently, like a small puppy that is wandering off his paper each time. And then going to the lower back. Then moving up the spine. Maybe there's some parts of it that you can feel and others not. And then bring your attention to the right hand. Can you feel the fingers? How do you know the hand is there without looking at it? Maybe there's contact. And then continuing with the wrist and the forearm. With the elbow and upper arm. And to the left hand. What does your left hand feel like right now? Then wrist and forearm. Elbow and upper arm. And then to your shoulders. Maybe sending some love to your shoulders. And checking in how they're feeling today. And then going up the neck and to the head. And feeling your face. Starting with the jaw. tongue, lips, and feel the nose. And eyes, and the forehead. And widening the awareness to include the whole body, just as it's sitting there, and letting it be just as it is now. And feeling the sensations in the whole body. And when your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the sensations. Feeling the whole vibrating, alive body. And when you're ready, you can, in your own tempo, take a few deeper breaths. Start moving and opening your eyes. Take your time. And maybe taking a few seconds to reflect for yourself how this practice was for you, what you experienced. Feel free to change position if that was long in one way.
So thank you very much. And now we are going to move to our next practice. And so that was a formal practice. That we were practicing sitting. And like Leah said, we could also do it lying down. And the next practice is an informal practice. That's something that you can do without any posture that you would like. And it's about mindful listening and mindful talking. I mean, you are already very mindful while listening to us, but now we're going to do it a bit more spicy. And so we'll make groups of 2 people. And on Zoom, I don't know, we have like 5 people. So maybe one, no, the one is us. So that's good. So it's perfect. Yes. Okay, perfect. Ah, Maria is also here. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Lars. I'm very slow this morning. And actually, always. Okay, so mindful listening. What can I say about that? It's a very generous act, actually, when you give somebody your total attention. What does it mean? It's really trying to listen with your whole body, you could say, when somebody is talking. I mean, the person with whom you will have this small conversation. And when you notice that you're already thinking about what you're going to say next, you bring back your attention to just listening to the other person. Okay? So it's always this. I'm noticing I'm already thinking about what I'm going to say. Stop. Just come back to the and listen with your whole self. Also nice not to interrupt the person is talking. You can nod and you can say yes, yes, and that's fine. But don't make any advice. Okay, that's also very. It makes the other person. It gives the other person more space. Yes, that's it. And then, okay, yes, after 2 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, I'm going to give a small gong sound, and then you can switch. So the mindful listener becomes the mindful talker. And the mindful talker is also very mindful about the other person. So maybe choices of words, just looking as though, yeah, just choice of words, that's enough. And then also, am I sharing maybe a little bit too little, or am I sharing too much? Just be mindful about that. And then we're a lot of people here. So I'm going to ask you also to be mindful also about the, not only what's happening in your small bubble of 2 persons, but also the big room. Maybe just how loud we are talking, so that everybody can have a kind of intimate experience. And I would say, can I just make the groups? I think it's easier, maybe just to a few, then 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 to a few. And then Maria. Yeah, Maria, you could do on the Zoom, and then we can also have a small conversation, Liam, or not. Okay, I will. Let's just sit also like together. The groups of 2, you can sit together. And Lars is going to make a Zoom. Yes, you can say like this. Okay. Oh yes, thank you.
Can I join on Zoom, Lars, so we can make pairs of 2 as well?
Fabienne, you might want to. Oh, yes, exactly. Fabienne reminded me that I have to say about what we are talking about, actually, yes. So, yeah, pizza or brunch. So, exactly, so what was your experience in the, you can share about, for example, the mindful raising, eating, or the body scan, for example, okay? And we'll have 2 minutes each. You can finish your sentence, that's fine. You don't have to That sounded like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you invited me to share, and the people that maybe will came up in the small discussions, or how the two practices went for you, and maybe also how the mindfulness you were talking. That's very curious to hear, and it's also it's often really helpful for others to hear the experiences of others, either just to show that one's own experience is happening for many, or also just to see the diversity of experiences that can come up.
Yeah, so we have about 15 minutes for this part of the morning, and if you have some questions, you can also ask them.
I'm not always like this when we don't have this
Frame.
the communication. Have any of you done these practices before? Body scan or so is it, yeah, so maybe lying down usually. Is it different experience sitting up? No? How's it going?
Yeah, because it's not so comfortable. Always the mind asking, now I have the pain here, I have the pain there. But I did something like, yeah, not the whole body scan, sometimes just closing to focus on the feet or something. But the mind has a tendency to compare. Let's say I'm focusing on the right, but then I'm comparing what I feel on the left. I don't know if it's how it should be.
You're noticing that.
Yeah.
That's as we had it before in the mindful raising exercise. It's noticing what's happening and also noticing what's happening while it's happening. Thoughts that are coming up or comparisons.
It's really difficult to teach for me these exercises to really focus on one part and not constantly feel the body as the whole group.
I don't think it's necessarily wrong to have the sense that your body is there while you're doing it. If you still really can feel into that part that where you are.
Maybe it's different because compared, like the feelings is like if it's compared, if it's really a real feeling, body design, like does it smells like something what I know, or is it something completely new and I want to describe it with my way which is new, for example? I think the tendencies to compare the feelings with something that you already know.
Yeah,
Experience in the past.
yeah, exactly. And that's really the practice to always coming back to what we feel. It's really just a practice.
You said almost really important. The memory of the past and the movement of the head. Mindfulness is also a way to cope with these past and be open for new things, the new with the eye or with the view that I'm not listening to not
Exactly. For that, we have to notice when we're caught in them. But that's why I say it's great that you notice that you're comparing, or because when you don't notice, you will get carried away and lining up somewhere in the future or in the past. And if you notice it, then you can just bring your mind back to the present. And it's really a practice because we're just conditioned to function in that way. It's not gonna all our neurons are trained to plan or go back to the past. So it's really a training and a practice. And doing it over and over and over again. That's why also why the small little practices are so helpful, because while it's great to have this the practice on the cushion when we're spending the rest of the day in autopilot, we're not training our minds so much. So it's really good to have these little small moments to remind us to just to come back to the body, to the present moment.
And it is also some profound, what you were saying also has some profound impacts in your life also, because like, if you are always repeating again and again what you've already done, you always need something new, right? So it makes you actually always need like a addict, no? You always want a new hit somehow. That's so much how our society works like this, right? So rediscovering simple things, basically. It's this kind of and yeah, just like a kid, and this can be trained also. And it's so otherwise life gets a bit flat at some point, I guess. If you always, I mean, I had the pizza yesterday. I'm having a pizza today and tomorrow, and it's going to be exactly the same pizza. I know how pizza tastes. It gets quite boring, actually. But it's not about being entertained, but also like it's just changing. Everything is changing all the time. So it goes. It's really experiencing change, and this has, as you all know, very profound impacts on our lives. But once you start noticing that things are changing, then some of the things you start to cling a little bit less, maybe, or to, yeah, or also things that are difficult, they pass also. So you learn you learn to experience things, you learn to stay with things as they happen, and then you let them move on, which is a kind of a more realistic way to be with life, I think. So it has actually very simple exercises with profound impact on our lives. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it has to be also related to the type of work you do, where you are kind of trained, like, or you feel the pressure, you always need to be input, you always have something smart to say, and so then you kind of training rather yourself to kind of be reactive. It also takes a lot of effort to just relax it or cultivate it in a and then you and you are in
Yeah. Well, it's great that you were noticing it. And I don't know what line field of work you work in, but I'm sure that there are places where you need to be fast, you need to react quickly. I'm sure, and also here, I'm sure that even in this environment, it can be practiced. Just maybe already feeling when you have this kind of leaning forward, wanting to interrupt. Maybe just already feeling that when that comes up, then you can still decide, do I want to talk again, or I want to wait, listen a little bit more. It's really also about becoming aware of this urge to want to do something. And then exactly, then you have the choice, right? Because sometimes you need to, maybe you need to stop the other person or whatever it is you need to do. And sometimes you can give more space. And you can choose. Really about choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Itself is it doesn't mean like force for me?
Yes, yes.
Or does it mean I just
Yes.
let myself lay over for example, may not actually
Yes.
and this method cognitive
Yes.
history.
Yes.
Became some form of perception.
Yes.
And then go back to the second. Not even thinking what would be the right way to listen, but just giving them
Yes, yes, yes. So great. That's the practice actually, no? Like noticing this, like you said, it's a balance, no? And it's really, I can, when you're talking about that, I can really feel also in myself like this, okay, this kind of way, you know, when you listen to someone, and the practice, it's a practice, so it's not something, it's something very alive, and it changes moment by moment. And I want to congratulate you for great noticing that it was changing all the time. And then you notice, okay, now I'm pushing too hard, so I'm going to relax. And it's the same with every exercise that we're training or any meditation. It's kind of, we're talking about effort. How much effort you are giving into the practice? Is it, am I overdoing it? Am I a bit too intense, or am I just a bit too chilled? And finding right the middle. It's really a lifetime practice, I think, and yeah, just great. I think perfect. I mean, not perfect is a bad word in mindfulness, so I'm gonna just cut this off. Yeah. And I was wondering, how did you notice actually that it was happening?
I think like a few times where somehow thinking I listen very closely.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And then I have a problem because I was thinking
Okay. Yeah. So there was a lot of mindfulness of the mind happening. What was the mind doing right now? Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
Paying attention not only to myself,
Mhm.
then I would listen what is actually
Mhm.
to that.
Yes. 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 Beautiful. Very refined. That's beautiful. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Since we're going to have another round of questions later, we would go into a small, short break, maybe not too long, because we have the whole morning is so short. But since there are so many of us, I just take a stretch break, open the doors, and go outside. So yeah, there's 2 bathrooms, one here and one upstairs.
Like about 10 minutes or
Yeah,
something?
about 10 minutes.
Mais ça va parce que ouais, c'est ok, je le fais depuis 15 minutes. Yes, really nice. Würdest du uns wissen lassen, falls eine Frage käme, kommen wir in den Chat, oder? Ja, okay. Just waiting 1 more minute for everybody to arrive. Okay, so welcome back from the break. We're going to make a maybe 15 minutes meditation now together. I will lead you. Do a small grounding meditation at the beginning, then we will move into breath and then sounds. Breathing is a very central practice in all, actually, in many different traditions, and can be in many different ways. And we'll see what happens today. We'll see. Yeah, we'll do something. Okay. Okay, so maybe feeling the energy now. If you've had some conversations and you saw a lot of different things, maybe it's a little bit in the head, and there's no problem at all with that. You can see if it's possible for you to, like taking a small elevator, going from the head to the body. And feeling your body right now, maybe some temperature of the room. Maybe just checking in, what's the state of the body right now? Not tomorrow, not yesterday, but right now, how does it feel? Maybe feeling into your heart center and see if it's more on the expanded side or on the contracted side. You don't need to change it, we're just exploring. Maybe checking the emotional tones that you might be having. What kind of emotions are present and welcoming them. Also, what kind of thoughts you're having. You don't try to block your thoughts, it's not possible. Just like, hi there, my thinking mind. And now trying to feel the weight of your body on the cushion or on the floor, on the chair, however you are sitting. The earth is carrying you. You don't need to do anything. If your eyes are closed already, you can feel into the area around your eyes. If there's any tension, you can try and kind of make some space for the eyes. And if your eyes are open, you can try to have a relaxed gaze. Feeling into your jaws. They don't need to be relaxed. Just saying hi. Maybe inviting a warm awareness of the whole body sitting here. Maybe noticing that the body isn't completely still. See if you can feel into the movement of the body, the small movements of the breath. Not thinking about the movements of the breath, but feeling into them. Just very simple, the whole body breathing. Just feel into that. There is no need to change the breath. Doesn't have to be deep, doesn't have to be anything. You're just experiencing it. Doesn't need to be perfect as well. Perhaps you feel how the body expands during the in-breath. Kind of contracts during the out-breath. Each breath is completely new, never happened before. At some point, the mind will drift away, just go, because the mind is very curious and very interested in everything that's also happening here. And just gently bring it back to the movements of the breath. And right now, you can always begin again. Maybe you notice that the breath is particularly easy to feel in a certain area of your body. Might be at the chest level or the nostrils or in the belly. Just see for yourself what feels more comfortable and easy. And then you can rest your attention right there. Resting. Of coming home. Just this in breath, just this out breath, just this one. Noticing if there is a small little break between the in and the out breath. You can rest in this little gap. You can always start again. If your mind wanders, what mind do? That's totally fine. See if you can be gentle with your mind. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it isn't. That's fine. Now gently letting go of the breath. And as best as you can change the anchor of attention from the breath to notice the sounds around you. Not the concept around the sounds. You don't need to identify what the sound is about, but just letting the sound come, let go. Because sounds are always in the present moment as well. How does it sound right now? Now. You don't need to catch the sound, but it's more going into receptive mode. Receive the sounds and let it go. Don't worry, it doesn't need to be perfect. For the last minute or so, you can play a little bit between switching anchors of attention. You can go with the feelings in your body, or you could have your attention on the breath or on the sounds around you. In a few moments, you will hear the bell. The invitation would be to try to be with the sound as it appears, stays for a while, and then disappears again. Thank you very much for your practice. Just want to say one thing, that if you had a calming and nice experience, that's fine, that's great. And if you didn't have calming, or you felt agitated, or you felt uncomfortable, that's also welcome. So really in mindfulness, it's not about the goal, achieving something. It's basically, you could say it's just about doing it, just showing up. Thank you.
We're going to continue directly with another practice. Out of the 4 classical postures, we've done mostly sitting now, because otherwise we would have to lie down for the body scan. And now we'll do some walking practice. And usually we walk with a goal to get somewhere, and often we don't really notice either that we're walking, and we just arrive somewhere and the body did kind of its thing. And in walking practice, the walking itself is the goal. And we're not really going anywhere, because we're walking back and forth on a very short path. We're really not going anywhere. For that, I will tell you later where to go, because there's so many of us. We choose a path to walk on, a few steps, and we walk in one direction, and when we arrive at the end, we turn around and can also pause and take a breath, and continue in the other direction, and so forth. And we pay attention to the sensations in our feet while we do that, while we touch the ground. And one variation of that is that we divide each step in 3 parts. We can make a small soft mental note saying lifting, moving, and placing with each step. So these are things that you can try, either really being with the sensations that are happening, or labeling these 3 parts. And about how fast we are walking with this practice, there are people who are so used to doing a walking practice that for them, even when they're walking normally, this is kind of the default mode that they're in. So there's no real, you can't really say that walking practice has to be done like really slow. Well, the slowest would be just before falling down. But try to find the tempo where you can actually feel something, where that makes it easiest for you to feel sensations in your feet. You can also experiment with that. Like at some point, really slowing down and see what happens, if it changes the experience, or going faster and see what changes then. We'll do that for about 10 minutes. And I would ask you to maybe put all the cushions here or on the benches, so we can use this space here for a few of us.
Some can go outside.
Some can go outside. You can pick your shoes, and maybe five outside. It's a very short path, but it's nice to the grass. Maybe 6 here and 4 upstairs. Maybe would you like to go upstairs? And you are close to the window outside. And I will ring the gong at the end of the practice.
It's a very small.
Like this.
I would like to sit down if it's possible.
And would you like to do some kind of meeting practice? No? There's options for it. Thank you for your practice. Now there's some more time for questions. And yeah, as I said before, last time, it's you can be sure that whatever question you ask, somebody else will be glad you asked. And there's the space for it now. Maybe for sharing what you experienced during the walking. Maybe that was different from the other things that we did.
Let's say you start constantly focusing on your breath, and then you get distracted by the bus, and then you decide to move the point of concentration to the sound during one meditation. What's your view on that? Is that something you can do, or would you rather say go back and focus on the breath again, or take 15 minutes and try it out?
There are different things that you can do. You can, if you say that you're doing meditation on your breath, you can be more strict and say when something's not so disturbing, but just coming up, like a sound, you notice it, and then you're coming back to the breath. And when something comes up that is really disturbing or really strong, that it might be a sound, it might be an emotion or a physical sensation, you can make this your object for a while because it's taking over. So you're with that for a while, and when this starts changing, because it will at some point, then you can come back to the anchor that you had before. This is one way you can do it, and there's also the type of meditation where you maybe start with something with an anchor that is kind of solid, like the breath, and at some point you don't have this fixed anchor yet anymore, but whatever happens is, you notice whatever happens. It could be sounds, it could be a sensation, different phenomena happening in your mind, that you take up whatever pops up. This is harder to do because you don't have this anchor anymore, and it's easy to kind of get lost in one of the things that you might not see that are still happening. So I think it's good to know what your plan is to do. If you say it's on the breath, then come back to that, or spend some time with the strong object. And if you want to free float it, decide it beforehand. So that's what I think it's.
No, yes. Yeah, I actually, when you asked the question, I would have gone in different, but I liked very much more your answer actually. And maybe just one thing, that it's also, there is no right or wrong also, sometimes that's good to know. And it's also nice to just kind of play with it and see what happens if you do this. Discovering.
Yeah, it's nicer if you, my thought was when you go to another anchor because it's stronger, then a minute later it's going to be another anchor because this other anchor is going to be stronger. And if you do this, you will make the experience yourself. What happens in that kind of meditation? Then maybe you'll choose to say, no, I want to stick with one, or I want to be more free with that. Thank you. That's the question.
How does it look like? And I imagine mindfulness, like focusing always or 1 week, for example, only 1 week, or something else.
Mhm. Yeah, it depends. I mean, there are many different schools. If you would go in the Vipassana tradition, which is like the Buddhist branch of, they use mindfulness as their main practice. So you would have many different teachers telling you many different things. So it's not possible really to answer. But what I can, from my point of view, from the secular mindfulness point of view, it's good to have a balance between formal practices and informal practices. So formal practicing being, for example, doing some mindful walking or doing a meditation on the breath, for example. So that will give you kind of a laboratory where you can kind of experiment, and then exactly a space, and then you can experimentation. Then you can take it out into your daily life, and then you can do some activities with mindfulness. It could be, for example, you can decide for 1 week, I'm going to brush my teeth mindfully. So while you brush your teeth, you try to be with the feelings happening, or all the sensations. Sorry, I always say feelings. All the sensations happening, for example, in your mouth, and then there is sound coming up, and then maybe some taste, and then maybe also feeling into the wanting for it to be over. So usually we try to balance both kind, like formal and informal. But for a lot of people, there is just no time for doing formal, for sitting or for walking. So informal is also very good. So you could just wash the dishes mindfully. So it's kind of nice, you know, the sensations of water on the skin can be nice, doesn't have to be, but can be nice. And it's also, you can learn a lot with that. Actually, it's not that one way of practicing is better than the other, but they really are helping each other to, it's kind of a muscle that you develop. And the more mindful moments you have during the day, the more momentum it will get. And at some point, it requires a little bit less, because we were talking about effort before, it requires a little bit less effort for it to be present, actually, or for it to remember.
Like in the beginning, or at least after this it's lots of energy, lots of effort to keep going, to be present.
Yes.
Maybe with the time, as you said, it's like the muscles, and the muscles grow stronger than like, wow, now I have to wasted.
Yes, all these on my to-do list, and now I have to be mindful also. Yes. So if it's, my tendency is to over effort. So I'm like, you know, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna like be mindful on the thing, you know. So I'm gonna push through it, and it feels really exhausting. So, but it changes. So this is what you learn, actually, slowly to relax also. Because also in relaxation, for example, if I ask you, for example, to feel into your left hand right now, doesn't need effort, right? It's just like, that's it. That's not more than this. So it's kind of an art. You learn to play with the effort that you put into it. And you learn a lot about yourself also. For me, for example, I'm learning that I'm really doing this a lot with a lot of things in my life.
But then it's like with the muscles, it is overcorrected, and it can be hard.
Exactly.
Now 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Brushing, and the rest of the day, I don't.
Exactly. Whatever works, always be kind of like, you have to be kind with yourself, trying to be what is the most helpful for my situation, in my very case. And at the same time, you have to know yourself. You know, you have to be very honest with yourself. And then, like, I should be meditating. If you go into these mindsets, then probably try to relax a little bit, and then just say, okay, what do I want actually with this? Just check with your motivation, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it could take another hour now to talk about it, because I feel you. Maybe we have time for one more question. If you want.
Secular with mindfulness.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, the practices are very close to what is practiced in a Buddhist context. Also, all the ideas that we want to realize that change is happening, that things are coming and are going, not identifying so much, holding on to ourselves and our thoughts and so on. This all comes from Buddhist philosophy. And it's sometimes hard to really say this is the line. Here it's secular, here it's not secular. Can we say the word Buddha in the secular mindfulness teaching? I think we should, but it's hard to draw really a line. But there is no studying of texts in secular mindfulness. You don't necessarily you don't have ritual objects. There are a lot of there's a huge part of what goes on in Buddhism that is not included in secular mindfulness. It's something that can be practiced by people of other religions very well. Just recently we heard a talk of a rabbi who teaches mindfulness because he thinks it goes very well with his own spiritual path. It's I think in the way that it can be presented and that it can be practiced, it's universal and it doesn't need to be connected or be pushed away by any religion. Is this?
It depends. I mean, if some people have to go at like 5:30, it's 25 now. But just feel. In 2 minutes. A closing question, a very easy question, just to make us feel comfortable at the end of this teaching. Okay. Okay, what's the point? Okay. It's going to be very unprecise and unperfect. I'm already asking your apology. No, it is part also in the sense that more and more that you are with what is happening in the present moment, the less and less you are identified with it. So for example, it's not if I'm a very fearful person, with mindfulness, I start to learn what is fear as a phenomena. And when I start to discover this as a phenomena, there is less self-involved because it's not I am a fearful person, but there is fear present right now. And the fear is changing, and the fear is a concept also. And you start to feel, for example, okay, fear are actually a set of moving sensations, like a lot of thoughts also, and a kind of, there is a freezing quality of it, or there is a wanting to push it away. And all those things are not self, they are just causes and conditions, right? So this is where it gets a little bit mixed up with also, we could go into, I'm not able to give Buddhist teaching that I want to make very clear. Yet, because I know a little bit about Buddhist philosophy, I know that there are a lot of points that are actually, it's maybe using different words, but talking about the same thing, probably. Yes, and then we can discuss this later. I don't know if it's already, yeah.
Great answer, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so well, why we've talked about formal practice and informal practice, and also how important the informal practice is. And we just wanted to give you some takeaway thing, object for your informal practice, if you wish to use it. Because often we need something to remind us to be mindful. And if we have a little thing like, for instance, this stone, we can have this on our desk when we work or in our pocket. And when we see it, or when we put our hand in our pocket, we can use this just for a little reminder and for a little moment of mindfulness, taking it in our hands and just feeling cold, taking my pulse, and then finished. Very short practice, but can be done many, many times. And it's just a small object to remind you of that. But it's just
I'm gonna just.
We thought we had way too many, but we could choose.
If you wish, you can take one of those very precious
Gems
with you. Okay, and so now we arrive at the end of our practice day together, practice half day together, and it's always good at the end of because we have created a lot of positive energy, you could say, or a lot of good qualities, or maybe we learned a lot about ourselves during, or maybe not, but just we were here, you know, we tried something, we did something good. And it's something like unusual. We could be like brunching, which is also good, but you know, it's Sunday morning and you all came here and take care of yourself, of your inner world, of your mind and of your heart. And it's such a beautiful thing that we like to share that with other people. So everybody that you will, maybe you can just invite you to close your eyes for just a few seconds and think about like what you developed today, just for being here and trying, learning about yourself, about your mind, and thinking about all the people that made this possible today, all the people that decorated this beautiful center, take care of the plants, take care of everything of the website, and everybody just cleaning this beautiful space, and just yourself also included, and everybody that you will meet today, and the people that you will meet in the future, your families, friends, anybody that you don't know, and everybody in Zurich, everybody in Switzerland, everybody in Europe, everybody in the world, and also all beings, also all animals, and all insects, all earthworms, and really we want to share whatever small positive energy we created today with all of them. And you can try in your own way to feed into that. And yeah, may all those beings, and may ourselves be safe, and may we all be happy, and may we all be healthy, and may we all live with ease. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. And thank you for organizing.
Yeah, I would like to just, I'm going to switch the spotlight so you can see me. Leah, thank you so much. Manuel, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to learn something new, see it again, because it seems that I forgot all of those basic lessons about mindful eating, how wonderful it was to just be walking around, and also see how much I really wanted to just eat that cashew nut. It was a cashew nut very fast. And also when walking, I was just like intensity, so much intensity. And I don't even care about what am I doing. And it's just so basic. And you said, Manuel, this word, even we feel like it's a little annoying to really just relax. And it's something that needs to be trained. So thank you for doing this. I really hope that you will come back to Laksam again, because At least I need it. And also thank you to Tara and Simone, who were online with us today. And then everybody in the center who can see me, and I can see you, but I can see that and hear that are many people in the center. Nice to see you all. And oh, hello. Hello. And this is a Buddhist center, obviously, and maybe you've met Teres, Fabienne, and Maria being in the center. And if you wish to get into more meditation, we have Monday evenings at 7 with Talia. It's online on Zoom, and Sabine is leading these wonderful retreats. We have a lot of possibilities for just meditating. Hope we'll meet again, and thank you again, Leah, Manuel, and we will say goodbye from Zoom, and you can just enjoy some talking and discussions in the center or anything. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.